Ladies and gentlemen, we're debunking still rumors about this not being Zach's film, and also lots of things were cut from the movie. I'm going to show you guys evidence from the B-roll footage this time, behind the scenes B-roll footage, and this time it's of Justice League, and then I'll go on to another video. We're going to debunk these rumors, and anytime people start talking about nonsense like that, debunk them. Alright, this is just the debunking moment. Let's get into it.
There is a stranger who comes to this village from the sea. He comes in the winter when people are hungry. He brings fish. He comes on the king tide. That was last night. Talk.
We already debunked this. We already know that the footage that we just saw there, the only part of that footage that was not in the movie was when Aquaman turned and said, "Talk." Alright? Cool. That's Zack Snyder all the way. There ain't no Joss Whedon up in there, okay? What we're looking at now is in the future Hall of Justice. This is Wayne Manor, and this is Bruce Wayne going to come inside of this chamber room. This is the last part of the movie. This is that scene. This is just Ray Fisher training. Alright, this is Gal Gadot in the terrorist scene, and she's turning to deal with the terrorists. Alright? Aquaman inside the troop carrier. This here is Ray Fisher, the Flash. If you pay attention to the staircases and stuff, this is underground. This is between Gotham and Braxton Island, also known as Stryker Island. Okay, let's keep it going. You know what's strange though? This is a little tidbit. You saw Ezra Miller, and he's doing the camera frame. He's mocking Zack Snyder. I'm just saying. I tell you, there's the little hints that Ezra was channeling Zack Snyder. Anyway, here is Aquaman, and they're gonna do the sea shot here. Here you see walking into the sea right there. That's Ben. That's troop carrier. This is Gal. I'm not too sure where they are at this point in time. I can't tell you. There is Batman jumping off the gargoyle with Commissioner Gordon. Dun 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 dun, and then he jumps down. There is that shot. Okay, now this is a shot that wasn't in the movie. At first I thought this shot was when they first were going down into the Batcave. No, this is not that. This is after they face Superman. They're going down into the Batcave. Joss Whedon cut that and just went straight to the chase of Aquaman being frustrated. Let's keep it moving. Okay, that was Sky. I don't know if you noticed Star Labs just a minute ago. This here is when they are. This looks like when they are in the underground tunnel. The machine room they were going to, and this is the broken off part, the pathway they had to jump across. Okay. This is the first evidence of Henry Cavill's Superman. What suit is he dressed in? Is it black? No! It's the blue suit, okay? This is behind the scenes footage. Not quite sure what this guy is doing, but there you go. That was just now a scene from Russia, when they were in Russia. And this is Tatopolis, and there's the bat signal there. This is the bat moment when Commissioner Gordon meets Batman and the rest of Justice League. This is in the underground tunnel scene. Zack Snyder is sliding on the ground because Aquaman is supposed to come and do the trident thing and slide. Okay, this is a scene which they didn't put in the movie. This is when Alfred was telling Batman he needed to go up the steps to the machine room in the underground tunnel system. This is them actually climbing those steps. It wasn't necessary, so they just skipped that. There's the scene, as you can see, where the place was broken off to get to the machine room. And here's Batman actually grappling Hook across. It's pretty cool. Okay, this here is Ben outside of the cut talking to Zack. This is when Bruce Wayne is meeting Barry Allen. Okay, this is I don't know what Jason Momoa is doing. I don't know if he's rock climbing. I don't know what the heck he's doing there. I can't tell you. But he's having a good time on all fours. This is okay. These are the two Amazon women, and they are stopping the gate from closing. That's what's really going on. They're practicing that. That's a practice session. See the green screen behind them. I forgot what their names are. This is Penn Cecilia. That's what she's known as the Amazon. But her real name is, it'll come to me. She's not Bruce Lee. She's Brooke Ince. This is Brooke Ince. And this is Harry Rice. Harry Lee. I'm not too sure. I can't remember. They're famous, man. They're famous. Fitness people. CrossFit. And they're beast strong. There's Ray Fisher. Man, that guy's ripped. Look how big he is, too. He's huge. He's doing some strength training. Okay. This here's a stuntman playing in for... These are the scientists and people. And remember the janitor guy? Well, this is the janitor guy when Steppenwolf is throwing him against the wall. So stunt guy is doing it. Okay, this scene... This is when they're down in Steppenwolf's lair. Yeah. And Batman grappling hooks the Flash. And he says, "Thank you." This is the scene right here. This is when Wonder Woman lassos the terrorist and pulls him up and his gun falls to the ground. That's what you're looking at. You can see they're inside of Old Bailey. This is Aquaman slamming Bruce Wayne into the wall. Said maybe you should leave. These are parademons, and the place is blowing up, and they're getting knocked down flat. That's Batman falling into the Nightcrawler. This is Wonder Woman slamming the shield, and then half of the thing breaks off. Steppenwolf and Cyborg and Aquaman and Wonder Woman fall through the ground to the next level. This, we didn't see this scene, but this is probably Batman closing the door or zapping up something. I have no idea what he's doing, actually. This is her again. This scene is a scene where they're exploding the bottom of the building. It's not that she didn't get the bomb. I think what happened was she threw away the bomb that blew up top. She came back. And, you know, she does the... And she slams the bracelets together. And I think she blew the guy or exploded from the top to the bottom of the building, almost a certain level to the bottom of the building. And all this debris came out. That's what happened. That's the after effects right there. Pretty cool, though. Exactly. Okay, here's Henry Cavill bareback. So that tells you that, yes, they revived him via the Mother Box level. And here is the Flash in the background. Okay, all these people are here, special effects to do the bullet time stuff. Okay, and that's why the Flash is in this thing for bullet time. Okay? Okay. So Henry Cavill, you can see Henry Cavill throwing a punch, which means he's supposed to be punching at the Flash, and that was a scene there. So all of that stuff was choreographed by Zack Snyder's team. It was Zack Snyder that did all that fighting between the Superman and the rest of the team. Let's keep it moving. Okay. Aquaman, Wonder Woman, the Flash, they were dealing with Superman, and that's Aquaman there going to go after Superman. And Aquaman clowns around a little bit. I mean, Jason Momoa.
I just want to say a quick...
He's big and strong, too.
Thanks to my cast and crew. It's been a great shoot, and thank you, UK. It's been amazing.
Zack Snyder, we did not see any GCEU stuff. We just saw some pictures. And it's all cool. There's Ray Fisher chilling out right there. It's really cool. Alright, it's really cool. You guys were ready to do battle and stuff, but I've never done battle. I just push some people and run away. Alright, let me just get straight to the B-roll. Let me get to the B-roll footage. One time. Let's go through that and get it over with. So, Justice League B-roll footage. There's a bunch of them. I guess I'm going to do this one. I'll do this one. Here's Bruce Wayne. This is straight from the movie. Zack Snyder. Joss Whedon had nothing to do with this stuff because you had to be all the way up in Iceland to do that. By the way, did you see the special effects? How they got the special effects in the background? Let me show you something. See? Oh, okay. Hold on. So they had all this ice and stuff in the background. They added those special effects into the landscape. That's not real landscape. Got it? Okay, let's keep it moving. That was cool. Jason Momoa getting pumped so he can stand in the water. Still wearing the pants.
This is the highest it'll be, so it'll be. Because otherwise, remember when we did the little rehearsal, you had to like stumble over all those rocks to get to the damn water?
Good.
And then maybe just.
So there is Aquaman. Do you remember this scene with Bruce Wayne and Aquaman? I told you it was an alternate cut, maybe, of what Zack Snyder did. Joss Whedon did not direct anything there. That's all Zack Snyder. Everything that has to do with Aquaman and Bruce Wayne up in Iceland. Joss Whedon can't go all the way back up to Iceland, folks, to do reshoots. So, yeah, there you go. Alright. It's all Zack Snyder. I love that they're dealing with cancer awareness here, though. That's so nice. And this is when he takes off his clothes and stuff, and then he goes into the water. Bruce Wayne's talking to him. So all that dialogue between Bruce and Aquaman, Zack Snyder. That's Aquaman again. That's Zack Snyder. Now there is two places where it was Joss Whedon inputted something, and I think it was where Aquaman dove back into the water backwards. And I thought that was Joss Whedon, and where he winked. He said, I don't mind if the water rises. I think those two things were Joss Whedon input. Maybe it could have been Zack Snyder, but it wasn't in the outdoors. It was in a studio. I can tell you that. There's a difference. So yeah. All right, let's keep it moving. This is where you're saying, "You're out of your mind, Bruce Wayne." Okay, when he finishes it, he gets happy. Now again, they CGI'd out the background here. It was really cool. Really cool. See? This is Gal Gadot. When she says invasion and stuff, that wasn't Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon had nothing to do with this. This is Gal here, and she'll see her talking with Zack in a minute. And this is the guy who was saying, how was your weekend, Diana? This is the guy right here. See, she's doing some painting and stuff. Here she is talking to Zack here. Zack's taking a picture. Zack's such a fanboy. Zack takes pictures of every... I'm telling you, man, guys. Zack Snyder is the Flash in this movie. He's such a fanboy. He geeks out like crazy, man. I like him. I really do. He's got this love for these characters. Here she is walking in. This is when she was walking in the movie to Bruce Wayne. You can see the camera following her from below to above. You know, that above and below theme stuff. So cool. So cool. Alright, now I enjoyed this because listen to this. Listen to this.
He said that like it explains why there's a total stranger sitting in the dark in my place in my second favorite chair. Tell me about this.
That's straight up from the movie, folks. Go ahead and go watch the movie. You'll see exactly how he spoke there is exactly how it was in the movie. Zack Snyder. So anybody tell you Joss Whedon did, he did the brunch. What is brunch? No, that was Zack Snyder. Remember this scene? This again is Gal with the Mercedes-Benz and everything. And that's again Zack Snyder shot. I'm telling you, almost everything in this movie was Zack Snyder. I don't know what's wrong with people. It's just evidence over and over. And there was no black suit. There was never going to be no black suit. Here's Commissioner Gordon. You remember the scene with Commissioner Gordon dealing with the black detective who was talking about, and he was saying, I'm going to ask Batman tonight. Okay, here it is. See the black detective right here?
Attacked by a flying vampire. Suspect looked like a giant bat with huge fangs.
A possibly related note. Sketch of the suspect in the abductions at the lab at Russell Hawk. Looks like...
Yes, I know who it looks like, Christmas.
See? Straight out of the movie. Straight out. Word for verbatim. Even how it's acted out. Just saying. Let's keep it going. Remember when the people were saying, oh, Joss Whedon had the tight pants for Diana. Look what they did. No. This is the original Zack Snyder cut. This is when Barry's going to say, She says, "Hi, Barry, I'm Diana." He says, "Hi, Barry, I'm Diana." Okay, and there's the car in the background from the plane, and Bruce Wayne, and they hop down from the thing. Okay, Zack Snyder. Okay, Zack Snyder. Oh, let's keep it going. It's Commissioner Gordon when he do the Batman stuff. Straight out of the movie, the exact angle and everything. Okay, this is them when they're talking about the parademon stuff, but this is not shooting right now. And there's Ray Fisher as Cyborg back in the background there. This is when Batman will say, "Not enough." That's what that scene. See the zooming in on Batman. See, he says, "Not enough" right there. This is Batman when he knocks down the parademon. And look up at the camera. Booyah. This is good. You see Zack taps Ezra Miller. Now watch what Ezra Miller does. He channels Zack. He'll actually do the same thing Zack does. Watch this. That's how I knew. That's how I knew. I was like, damn, it's Zack. Ezra's being Zack. So funny. It's really funny. Aquaman. This is Aquaman when he's dealing with the wave and you see the sliding thing. This is what Zack was sliding on in the last video I showed. That's Ray Fisher. They did the shots inside of this thing. Okay, Alfred, I'll take it from here. He said that. It's in that. They did some reshoots, I think, of that scene. This is them coming back down. They got their asses whooped and they're coming back down. Or maybe not. Not quite sure what scene this is. See? Zack Snyder's scene. People were saying this was Joss Whedon's scene where Batman was boosting the signal with Alfred. No, Zack did that. With Zack again. Trying to show the Amazons versus the Atlanteans. There would be Flashpoint paradox going on. Somehow Wonder Woman has Aquaman's trident-y thing, and he has her sword. It's really funny. Now she's taking back her sword. It's so funny. The Flash is just kind of standing there. Alright, this is them when they were facing Superman. Really cool. They hint everything. They give you the story, but you never know unless you saw the movie. This is funny. Check this out. See, all of this was in the movie. The Flash was at that station. There they are again. Mounting the ramp, going into the troop carrier. And there's Alfred in the background there. Alright. And there's another place where he says, do you talk to fish? Literally, you get that joke. Do you talk to fish? Joke, which is again a Zack Snyder thing. There's some other B-roll, but I'll leave it right there at that, okay? So guys, when people say, oh, well, you know, Joss Whedon did this and Joss Whedon did that, I'm tell you what Joss Whedon did in the movie, okay? These are the things Joss Whedon did. The beginning of the movie where Superman's being interviewed, that's Joss Whedon all the way through. The end where Superman's racing the Flash, I believe that's Joss Whedon that did that part. Well, clearly he did. Other than that, you really have very minimal Joss Whedon input into things. He really didn't change the script that much. That's Chris Terrio's script for the most part. And most of the scenes in the movie are Zack Snyder scenes. Okay? All Joss Whedon was brought on board to do, for you guys to know, was to trim down the movie to 2 hours. He did an excellent job of doing that, leaving out unnecessary stuff that would have probably made the movie longer, but sometimes for short attention span people and children, it would have probably made it boring for them. This movie's hella entertaining because it's just the right length. Now, having said that, what did Joss Whedon do in this movie? Well, for the most part, Joss Whedon did where the Flash was pushing Wonder Woman out of the way of the Nightcrawler and he was on top of the Wonder Woman. That was a Joss Whedon moment. Joss Whedon also did the dialogue scenes for Superman when he encountered the Justice League. Okay? However, he did not do the fight sequences and all of the face and expressions that Superman had. Only the dialogue scenes. And that was for that interaction. Then he also did a lot of the dialogue scenes for Superman and Lois Lane. However, it must be noted that when Superman landed with Lois Lane, I was talking to Lois Lane, that was Zack Snyder. And when Superman was talking to Martha Kent at the end, that was Zack Snyder. But in between there were mixtures of Zack Snyder's shots with Joss Whedon's shots. And you could tell Joss Whedon's shots because you could tell Superman's face, Henry Cavill's face didn't quite look like Henry Cavill. Even after they've done a really good job with the CGI, still doesn't quite look like Henry Cavill. So you can tell Joss Whedon especially worked on Henry's delivery of dialogue. Not necessarily is it rescripted fully, but the delivery of dialogue. I do believe I'm saying a little weird that he came back a little weird is again more of Chris Terrio, David Goyer, Zack Snyderisms. So it's not, but I think people were trying to focus on the ring because they saw that in the trailer and they compare the scene and the drama that happened with Lois Lane and Superman to that, but it really shouldn't be. Anywho, that he did. He also, I think, added in the Steve Trevor piece. Not necessarily did he change the script, but I'm not too sure if this is an alternate cut we see with Bruce Wayne talking to the League about raising Superman, or if that is a Zack Snyder cut. I'm sorry, a Whedon redo of that moment. I'm not too sure. I can't tell you because it feels like a Zack Snyder piece, but it does feel a little bit Whedon-y. Whedon is more verbose, generally speaking, but then again, he may be adapting to the minimalist style, so I can't really tell you if it's Whedon or Snyder. I can't really tell you about that. What I can tell you is they're dressed differently, but the scenario is the same. Now, so in other words, in terms of story, that's how they were going to bring back Superman, using the Mother Box and the Kryptonian ship. That was always on the table. Now, here's the thing. After the scene after where Bruce Wayne was meeting with the League, they got the ass kicked, Aquaman was angry and stuff. That scene right there was not Whedon. That was Zack Snyder. And we have evidence for that when we see Bruce Wayne talking to Aquaman saying, "Do you talk to fish?" That's all Zack Snyder. However, Whedon did introduce Steve Trevor's name into that script. I know that's a reshoot after Wonder Woman. So Steve Trevor was not there in the original script. You can just rub off Steve Trevor's name and keep it going. But they put it in this script. I can tell you that. So Whedon is responsible for that. The moment with Bruce and Diana, where we make it through the night and that kind of stuff, that Bruce and Diana moment, again, I think it's Zack Snyder for the most part, but Whedon introduces the Steve Trevor moment where she's talking about they all being Steve Trevor. So that little piece of dialogue right there is Whedon. Where else is Whedon seen? Whedon's he's sneaky. He creeps up in little spots, like with Superman facing Steppenwolf. When Superman faces off with Steppenwolf, says, I believe in truth, but I'm a big fan of justice. I believe that is a Chris Terrio line, but relayed over by Whedon. And so that's why Superman's face looked like that. However, there are several fight scenes in there where it's actually Zack Snyder's Superman, and Zack Snyder is actually doing the fight scenes. And some dialogue scenes where I can't tell if it's Whedon or Zack Snyder because the Superman's face doesn't look CGI'd. So I'm not sure. I think it's Henry Cavill's face we're looking at there. So I can tell you for a fact, at the end of the entire movie where Superman is talking about, I'm glad I didn't miss this, and Wonder Woman says, me too, That is all Zack Snyder. However, the special effects that are added in are a little bit different, maybe to what Zack Snyder was planning on doing, maybe or maybe not. I don't know. I can't tell you. I can tell you that Superman saying, I know this is gonna sound weird, but when he said, "I take it back. I wish I was dead." That scene is actually a Zack Snyder scene. Okay, Zack Snyder Chris Terrio scene, directed, and I wish I could prove it to you guys, but I can't right now. So Superman fighting Steppenwolf, that CGI that you saw when he fighting Steppenwolf and just beating him up, that was also Zack Snyder. So that's how I know that Zack Snyder was, and even when you see them boom tubing and you see Superman watching down and Steppenwolf getting boom tubed out and the parademons coming down, that's Zack Snyder as well. So there's a lot of Zack Snyder in this movie, and you guys don't even know. Let me tell you another serious moment that I thought Whedon might have been involved in, but it wasn't Whedon's moment. It was pretty much the writing of Chris Terrio and Zack Snyder, and it was a pretty serious moment in the film. It could be at the end of the film when Clark Kent is talking to Bruce Wayne. That's all Zack Snyder again. The cougar thing, jumped like a cougar, where they say that the bank jumped like a cougar on her, and then she talked about the thirstiest woman I know. It could be a Zack Snyder moment, as well as it could be a Joss Whedon. My guess is it's Zack Snyder doing that. Seriously, no, Zack Snyder's directing it, but Chris Terrio is the one that wrote it. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's all Zack Snyder again. This film is a lot of Zack Snyder. A lot of Zack Snyder's. But Joss Whedon, he just did his little touches here. The cyborg delivery of "I'll take it from here, Alfred, I'll take it from here." That was redone. That's a reshot to make Cyborg more human. The script is still Chris Terrio's. The direction is still in line with Zack Snyder. So I'm thinking that other than the moment where Clark Kent has with Lois Lane, that little speed there, that's probably the longest moment Whedon has in this whole film in terms of dialogue, besides the beginning and the end of the film. And Whedon just has little phrases and little moments in the film. That's about it. He just pretty much put little dabs on the film, but he didn't really have a substantial part of the film. I can tell you guys, just from the B-roll footage, I showed you the trailers, I showed you the Zack Snyder rap, just so you could understand how much of the work Zack Snyder did in this film. And I think Whedon just tried to trim up things. So, you know, the little touch with Superman dealing with Batman, where he says, you know, "Do you bleed?" I think that's Chris Terrio line, and they just relayed it a little different with Henry Cavill. The original one, he probably was a little too intense, a little too dark. So I think that's basically it. Whedon kind of cut up the film a little bit more to make it a little bit less heavy than it already was. This film was heavy for a good portion of an hour. There was just like one or two sprinkles of jokes, but it was really depressing, and it was really, really dark in the beginning of it. So you have to understand that if you were to take it a little too dark, yeah, it would, like the Snyder fan base, like myself, I would love it and appreciate it, but people would be reminded just way too much of BVS, and the average person can't take that kind of level of seriousness in a movie, especially little children. So I'm kind of happy it didn't go that way. However, I do want to see Zack Snyder's cut of the movie. I think that Joss Whedon's little bit of sprinkle fairy dust on little parts of the movie and how he cut it and he knit things back together, which is basically in line with what Chris Terrio and Zack Snyder were doing, I think it was brilliant. I don't think that Danny Elfman's score also kind of lightened up the film, made it more theatrical. I would have preferred to have certain moments, just certain moments, certain Man of Steel moments pervade, and maybe just a hint of Junkie XL's Man of Steel revision of Hans Zimmer's Man of Steel theme in there. But by and large, I wouldn't really want to change too much with this theatrical cut. I just think that certain motifs, I wish they were repeated because they were all the way through the film, through the trilogy. But other than that, no, I really like what I see and like what I hear. I could feel Danny Elfman borrowing things from Wonder Woman's playing line, throwing in some Avengers stuff, but then again, he composed all these stuff, so I get why he's doing it. The Hans Zimmer stuff was nice too. I like what he did, by and large. And I thought for this kind of movie, he did a hell of a job in such a small space of time. Yeah, guys, I just wanted to say that. So, guys, you see from the B-roll footage, there's still more B-roll footage out there. I may try and do a video on that in a minute. Okay, you guys have a great one.